We have to welcome in our third member of the show. Actually, I really should say the first member of the show, because he's the only one of us that's in his right spot tonight. Charlie O'Connor joins us live from the Wells Fargo Center. Charlie, a 5-4 win tonight. Great to talk to you. Great to be with you. And let me just start with kind of an overarching question. Anything stick out to you that you heard or saw from either John Tortorella or any of the players that spoke this evening?
Yeah, it was just a weird game, I would say, because to me, the first two periods were about as unwatchable hockey as the Flyers. And I'm not going to let the Blue Jackets off the hook either. It was just bad all around hockey. That probably should have been a 0-0 game, because you have the first goal is off of a really bad turnover by Jamie Drysdale. Second goal is a really bad turnover by Sam Ersson. Neither of those teams deserved really to be winning that game. It probably should have been 0-0. It was just ugly. Then the third period and overtime is just unbelievably chaotic. It almost felt like you were watching two games in one. You had the incredibly boring first 40, and then you had the ridiculous final 23 and a half minutes. So weird, back and forth kind of game in terms of, I feel like I'm getting whiplash watching it. So it was just a weird game all around. But if you're talking about the game overall, I mean, to me, the big storyline is Owen Tippett, because it's not like he was the only guy who played well for the Flyers in the third period. There were other standouts, to be sure. But to me, Tippett was the guy who kind of put the team on his back. And not just because he scores the game winner in overtime. He has I think he finishes with 3 assists, 2 really good setups on the Morgan Frost goals. And he was just flying. He was absolutely flying the whole game. Morgan Frost, after the game, called him a monster in the third period, and that was an accurate way to describe it. And we talked to John Tortorella afterwards. I asked him a question about Tippett as a playmaker, about the fact that Owen Tippett is known as a shooter. That's his skill. He shoots the puck a lot. He's got the quality shot. He's a guy who just flies down the wing and shoots. The big plays he made, aside from the game winner in the third period, because that's obviously in overtime, are playmaking. He has that great cut across the middle and then sends it back over to a wide open Frost. He has a really, really smart, subtle play, tying up a guy to give Frost more open space to take his shot. And Torts basically said, look, we know that Owen can shoot. We know he has that skill. What is going to decide whether he takes the next step in his development is if he develops as a playmaker, as a passer, and he even said as a defensive player. He said that with Owen Tippett, he wants to be able to put Owen Tippett out there in 4-on-4 situations that he doesn't feel like he can, because he's afraid that Owen Tippett's going to blow a coverage. He just doesn't trust him. But those are the things that Tippett needs to add to his game, and I think Tortorella was really excited about the fact that, at least tonight, Tippett looked like a guy who can. You could do it. Anybody can do it one game, but he looks like a guy who maybe can do it a lot and make it a permanent part of his game in the future, that he has that upside. So to me, a lot of things went well for the Flyers in the third, to be sure, but Owen Tippett's standout performance was top of the list.
Yeah, that pass from Tippett across the crease to Frost for that first goal was just outstanding. Unbelievable pass. So, yeah, Frost ends up with 2 goals in the night, almost 19 minutes played. With Couturier out of the lineup, this is a huge opportunity for him to just show us what he has. What did you think about the night for Morgan Frost?
It's funny because I didn't like much of it at all in the first 2 periods. I thought he was mistake prone. I think he was fighting the puck. I just didn't think he was making that big of an impact. And then suddenly in the third period, they put together a line with him, Tippett, and Travis Konechny, and boom, then he's making plays. Now, I do think that a lot of it was a product of Owen Tippett. I think Owen Tippett was the guy who drove that line. The first goal was basically a slam dunk. Like, that's Morgan Frost gets the goal. That's Owen Tippett's goal. He made that goal happen. All Morgan Frost had to do was not miss the net. The second goal, though, great play by Tippett to set it up. But Frost still has to take a really good shot and just pick his spot and rip it, and he did. Maybe Morgan Frost is starting to get a little bit more confidence. And look, me and Bill have talked about this on multiple shows. Frost does have a pattern of stepping up in the second halves of seasons. We're getting close to the second half. It's late December now. We're getting close to Christmas. We're getting closer to January. This is the time where historically Morgan Frost starts to turn it on. So maybe this is a start of second half Morgan Frost.
So, Charlie, right before you joined us, we were talking about Sam Ersson's night tonight, and it was, you said a tale of 2 games. We were talking about that too. Like, it felt like there was about 7 different hockey games in one. And Sam Ersson was a part of that tonight, where a couple of really excellent saves, especially late in the third and into the overtime period. Also, some poor puck handling that led to the first Columbus goal. Your thoughts on Ersson's performance tonight overall? I know it was kind of back and forth, but your thoughts on his performance tonight?
Yeah, I think John Tortorella more or less shares your opinion, where some big saves, some really rough plays. I come away much more negative because to me, and Tortorella said this, like you're measured more than anything on the saves you don't make. And yeah, it's great that he made some big saves, made some big stops in overtime at the end of regulation, but two goals in particular jump out at me as ones that he just has to stop. And Ersson more or less acknowledged as much after the game. He's always a very self-aware guy. He's more than willing to take an honest look at his play. The one is obviously the turnover. That's just ugly. Can't happen. You need to have better communication with your defensemen, or you just need to let them do the work. Just stay in your net. Terrible play by him. Then there's the fourth goal. And I actually straight up asked Sam Ersson after the game because I wasn't sure. You really couldn't tell from the press box or TV whether that was deflected, whether it changed direction at all on the way in, the one that's the distance shot from the point. And Ersson basically said, I don't think so. I think I just missed it. And given the situation, Flyers just tie the game, you have to make that save. Now, Flyers come back and they tie it again. Tyson Forrester gets the goal with the goalie pulled. But that is a pivotal situation. And you can't give up. Number one, you can't give up a goal, period. But you really can't give up a goal that's that weak. That is a shot that needs to be stopped 100 times out of 100. And if you gave up 2 goals in a game that you should have stopped, that are straight up kind of unforgivable plays that should not end up in the back of the net, your team's probably going to lose. The fact that the Flyers were able to overcome a goalie giving up 2 legitimate weak goals, it's pretty impressive for the skaters, but it also doesn't speak very highly for Sam Ersson. So I come away pretty negative about it. I think Ersson comes away pretty negative about it. Obviously happy that he got the win and that his team comes away with the W, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to solidify himself as a trustworthy NHL goalie.
Now, Cam York drew back into the lineup tonight, got a lot of ice time with Travis Sanheim. What did you think about York's night?
Mixed bag. I thought he made some plays. I thought he, like the Flyers, got better as the game went on, but I don't think he was anywhere near as good as he was, let's say, the start of this season before the injury that kept him out for a month. He's inconsistent. He has some shifts where it looks like he's pushing the play, he's attacking, he's carrying the puck, and then he has other shifts where either he's not noticeable or outright noticeable in a bad way, where turnovers, getting overpowered in the corners. Hopefully this is the start of him rebuilding his game. And I think everybody knows it's going to be a process. He really bottomed out in those final 2 games prior to the healthy scratch, but he's got a ways to go. He's like Ersson. He's got to rebuild his game. And honestly, just like Ersson, York, just like York, Ersson's a guy who hasn't been the same since coming back from injury. And it seems like it's the same thing with York. Both those guys need to figure out, what they lost due to that layoff and get back to where they are, because they're both really important guys for the Flyers.
Now, Lycksell drew into the lineup tonight, which was a bit of a surprise to us all. And he made some plays. I mean, he almost had a goal. It was called back, but, he was out there trying to make plays and had some good energy. What did you think about Lycksell's night?
Yeah, I thought he was fine. I mean, he looks like an NHL caliber player. He looks like he can hang. Now, can he stick and be an 82-game NHL contributor? I'm not sure. I'm probably on the more pessimistic side, but he's certainly a guy who you can call up and play for 3-4 games and he's not going to look out of place. And I think that's the way he looked tonight. I think he looked like he belonged. He obviously nearly scored, does score that goal, it just gets overturned, but he made some plays. I think that he is, at least at this stage of his career and his spot with the Flyers, he is a guy who is perfect in this role, in a role where if you need to call up for a week or so, he can do it. I don't know if he has the ability, the raw talent to be more than that, but you need guys like that. You need guys who can come up in a pinch and not hurt you. And Lycksell pretty much did that tonight.
Charlie, let's. We didn't get a chance. Steve and I didn't get a chance to talk about it before you joined us. Let's talk about the power play. 0 for 3 tonight. 0 for 10 dating back to the game against Detroit on December 12th. Their last power play goal came against Columbus on 12/10. And Columbus is not a very stout penalty kill. They're 27th in the league, tied with Calgary and Anaheim. What's not working on this power play over this 10-day stretch or so?
Everything. It's bad. It's really bad. And It's especially frustrating because you could kind of see this coming. The Flyers made a decision at the end of last season that they were going to stick with Rocky Thompson as their assistant coach in charge of the power play. They decided that they were going to try to work around the issues they had last year by creating this collaborative environment where you were going to have, John LeClair and Patrick Sharp and even Danny Briere, all these former players who, were great on the power play when they played, that they're going to work with Rocky Thompson to figure out this power play. And it's not any better. Like, the only reason why the percentage is better this year is because they have Matvei Michkov. It's nothing to do with the fact that it's actually clicking at a higher rate in terms of overall play. It's just that they have one guy who's real good on the power play who can boost them a few percentage points on their own. This is not a well-run power play. And look, I'm not absolving the players. They need to make better decisions. They need to do more with the puck. But this is a power play that is not getting strong direction. And I don't think Rocky Thompson is a bad hockey coach. I think he's overall done a fine job coaching the forwards. I just have seen nothing in his tenure here as power play coach for the Flyers to tell me that he can crack the code of this power play. And now it's even tougher to swallow because they actually have the talent. They need more talent, but you've got Matvei Michkov. You've got a guy who, and I say it a lot, I steal this from basketball, he's got gravity. He pulls defenders. He pulls penalty killers to him because they're scared of him. He scares penalty kills. And because of that, it leaves other guys open. They don't take advantage of that enough. They just don't have the kind of plan they need to take full advantage of Matvei Michkov. And look, assistant coaches don't get let go midseason in the NHL. It's just not a thing. So don't expect that to happen. But unless this power play gets way better in the second half, I don't know how you can keep Rocky Thompson as your power play coach going into next season. I just don't know how you can do it because this is now 3 consecutive seasons of the Flyers having a power play that is significantly worse than it should be given the talent on hand.
Yeah, it's a total mess. One of the guys who's actually had a positive effect on the power play this year has been Emil Andrae, and John Tortorella had some interesting quotes about him pre-game tonight. It's a no-brainer. It's gotten too rich for him. Easy part of the process, blah, blah, blah. You remember all the quotes, I'm sure. Charlie, some thoughts on Emil Andrae and John Tortorella's comments on that?
Well, I obviously strongly disagree with it. I put out an article today breaking down the details of my disagreement and why I don't think Emil Andrae should have been sent down. Really, what it truly boils down to for me, it's not even that I necessarily disagree with the demotion. Because if the coach isn't going to play the kid, yeah, you need to get him playing time. What I disagree with is the initial decision to scratch him in the first place and to keep him out for as long as Tortorella was keeping him out for. Because in my mind, while Andre's play probably did slip a bit, it wasn't as strong as it was in mid-November, it wasn't nearly as bad as the way Tortorella's framing it. The underlying numbers are still really strong. He was still making plays. He was still helping the team move the puck up ice. He's still a very good transition defenseman. I don't think he deserved to be pulled out of the lineup for anything more than maybe one game. Give him a reset game, sure, have no problem with that. Then you give him the second game, the third game. Then you basically flat out tell us today that I didn't even want to put him in on Thursday, but I put him in because I was basically so frustrated with Cam York. Like, he was more than willing to basically just sit Andre out the rest of the way to the Christmas break. And to me, you're watching guys, and look, I want Jamie Drysdale in the lineup because I want him to learn and develop and get better. But the idea that Emil Andrae wasn't dramatically outplaying Jamie Drysdale is crazy. I mean, we're all watching the games. We're all seeing Drysdale make these mistakes. Emil Andrae is far better than Jamie Drysdale is at this stage. And the fact that you're throwing him out there, you're throwing Yegor Zamula out there, you're throwing multiple guys out there on a nightly basis who are measurably worse at the position right now than Emil Andrae. It strikes me, what's so weird about it is it's the move of a tanking team. And the Flyers are adamant that they're not a tanking team. So if you're not a tanking team and you want to win and you want to get these guys playoff experience, why are you purposely making your team worse and making it tougher for that team to do that by taking a player out of the lineup and then ultimately demoting that player? You're taking a guy out of the lineup who can make it easier for you to win games. Now, John Tortorella clearly disagrees with that. He thinks that Andre is struggling enough or was struggling enough to be warranting a demotion or at least a scratching. I just strongly disagree with him, and I don't think I'm the only one that strongly disagrees with him.
Charlie, by the way, Cam York, who played over 23 minutes of ice time tonight. Now, maybe out of necessity and maybe because of an overtime period, extended the game a little bit. But he was so mad at a guy that he wanted to keep Emil Andrae in the lineup one more night, and then he ends up giving him 23 minutes of ice time like a week later, less than a week later.
Yeah, 2 days later.
One more question for me before we get to your 3 stars. Little bit of a slump, and I hate to even mention it this way, but a little bit of like a scoring drought, if you will, for Matvei Michkov. 4 games without a point now. I don't even know how to properly phrase this question because I feel like somebody's going to go, wow, Tyler, you're really getting on this young kid who's been excellent all year. Have you seen anything from Michkov over the last 4 nights that may indicate a little bit of a slowdown at the NHL level, just in a very small vacuum sample size?
So I did not like his game on Thursday. I thought he did not show much in the way of plays with the puck. I just didn't think he has as big of an impact as I expect Matvei Michkov to have. Tonight, though, I liked what he did for the most part. He wasn't perfect. He made some mistakes, but I thought he was much closer to the guy we've seen for the majority of the first, I guess, coming up on the first half of the season. We're past the 30-game mark, so it's not quite a third. It's over that. However many games they played, I don't know, was it 32, 33? They all blend together at this point. He was good tonight. He could have gotten an assist on one of the goals. I believe it was the Cates goal. Yeah, I think Forrester ended up getting an assist because he got a piece of a shot, but he was like the 3rd assist on that play. He was involved in the play, and I thought there were quite a few others where he set up teammates and they didn't necessarily do a good enough job on the play. No, tonight was a game where I watched and I'm not worried at all about Matvei Michkov. Now, if he would have had another game like Thursday and they had 2 games in a row like that, yeah, would have started getting a little worried that maybe he's fighting and maybe he's in his head a little bit. Tonight, though, he played well enough to get 1 or 2 points. The fact that he didn't get it, that's just puck luck. And if he plays the way he played tonight on Monday against Pittsburgh, I would expect him to break that pointless drought. I would.
That's why I was very intentional on trying to figure out a way to word that question because I don't want it to seem like I have any kind of concerns, but that's why I tried to word it in such a way. But all right, Charlie, let's get to your 3 stars of the game. We will start with your 3rd star and move down to 2 and 1. Who's your 3rd star of the night?
Yeah, 3rd start of the night, I'm actually going to go with Travis Konechny, who I thought had a quiet 3-point game, if those are even possible. But obviously, he has the big setup on the game-tying goal. Tyson Forrester scores it, of course, but that's a goal that is set up by Konechny's pass. He sets up the deflection that Forrester pulls off. Travis Konechny, leads the forwards in ice time, gets 3 assists. Was it the most dominant game of his? No, but he's your top scorer. And then at the end of the day, you look at the score sheet and he's got 3 points. It's a pretty good night. He did what he's supposed to do. For that reason, he's 3rd star.
2nd star?
2nd star, Noah Cates. Thought he had a great all-around game. Thought he was one of the few guys, because a lot of guys played well in the 3rd. I thought he was one of the few guys that played well the entire 60 minutes. Obviously gets a big goal in the 3rd period, but that was a goal that he earned with all the hard work and good play he provided in the first 40 minutes of the game. Noah Cates now has 3 goals in his last 3 games on a 3-goal streak. He's looking as good as he's looked all season, and the offense is starting to come around for him. He's never going to be a point per game guy, but if he can just get himself to being a 35 to 45 point a year guy, which I don't think is completely outlandish, suddenly he's a really valuable player given how good he is defensively and how many of the little things he does well. Suddenly he truly is like a baby Coots, a Couturier Jr., like Travis Konechny said they jokingly call him in the locker room. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Noah Cates, and for that reason, he's a clear-cut 2nd star for me.
Well, Steve, I think we have an inkling of who star number 1 might be, but Charlie, who's your 1st star of the game?
Yeah, it's Owen Tippett. He was, like Cates, he was good all game. He was showing that speed, but the 3rd period, he just put the team on his back. It was him taking over the game. Morgan Frost, there's a reason why, even though obviously he has 2 goals, there's a reason why I kind of left him off the 3-star list. It's because goal number 1 was Owen Tippett's goal. Owen Tippett gets the assist. That's Owen Tippett's goal. All Morgan Frost has to do on that play is not miss the net. And even the 2nd goal, great shot by Morgan Frost, but that's a really, really good play that he makes to set up Frost, where he basically runs a pick play, ties up the guy who's going to be covering Frost, gives Frost a ton of extra time to make that shot, to tee it up and find his spot. Tippett was everywhere in the third period. And then obviously, of course, he scores the game winner in overtime. I'm not even going to say one of. It was Owen Tippett's best game of the year by a significant margin. It's why people are so excited about his upside and why people get so frustrated that he doesn't do it every night, because you see games like this and you're like, why aren't you this good all the time? And I don't know if he'll ever be that guy, if he'll ever have that consistency, but the fact that they have a guy, and hopefully this will be the case 3-4 years down the road when the Flyers are a deeper, better team. If you have a guy who's your, fifth or sixth best forward who 4 times a year can have a game like this where he just drags you to a win, it's a pretty good luxury item to have. So Owen Tippett, fantastic game, great goal scoring, passing, playmaking, everything. Easy first-star selection.
Well, Charlie, we're going to let you get out of here. Thank you for your time. As always, Charlie and Bill will be back at it tomorrow for their Festivus viewing party.
2 days on Monday.
Oh, Monday. Sorry.
Monday.
My brain is so messed up. Tomorrow you're off. Enjoy your day off tomorrow.
It's a Go Birds Day on Sunday.
Yes, it is a Go Birds Day tomorrow. So, Charlie, you guys will be back on Monday. My apologies as the Flyers take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. That one is presented to us by Rite Aid. Check out the pub at Xfinity Live. Charlie, I may not get a chance to talk to you before next week and the holidays begin, so a very happy holidays to you and your family. Hope you have an excellent couple of days off here from PHLY, and I will be checking you out on the Festivus party tomorrow.
Sounds good. Happy holidays to both you guys as well. Thanks so much.
We all silly like the mayor.